Good evening, Belize. Tonight, the political showdown over the national budget. Opposition leader Tracy Tager-Panton taking aim at the Prime Minister's prosperity pledge, saying it doesn't match the moment Belizeans are living. Also tonight, a pivotal decision ahead at the International Court of Justice. Will Guatemala be allowed to step into the Belize-Honduras dispute over the Sapodilla Keys? Plus, a major ruling from the Public Utilities Commission, declaring BTL dominant across Belize's telecom landscape, what it means for consumers. And in our 5-point breakdown, the power of sports to reshape lives and communities. We're also tracking a mysterious death at sea. An elderly American national found lifeless on a catamaran. Authorities now asking, was it natural causes or something more? The news starts right now. Stay with us.
Get your body sculpted with gym equipment and accessories from Benny's. Quality and savings.
Rotavirus is a leading cause of severe watery diarrhea and vomiting in young children. It can lead to dangerous dehydration and hospital visits. The good news? The rotavirus vaccine is now available countrywide. It is given in drops at 2, 4, and 6 months of age. Protect your child. Visit your nearest health clinic today.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Wednesday, March 11th. I am Sabrina Daly. The Briceño administration is laying out its roadmap for the year ahead. And the draft national budget points to an economy that's still growing, along with a bigger push on the country's major priorities. For fiscal year 2026-27, government is planning a larger public sector investment program and steering most of its spending toward infrastructure, education, health, and climate resilience. According to the draft estimates, Belize's economy is projected to reach $7.4 billion in 2026, fueled by expected gains in foreign investment and a steady climb in tourism. The overall budget ceiling comes in at $1.9 billion. So where will government be spending the most and where will it be tightening up? And just as important, where is the money coming from? News 5's Paul Lopez takes a closer look.
The Briceño administration proposes a budget ceiling of $1.9 billion for 2026-2027. It anticipates spending $1.3 billion in recurrent expenditure and $606 million in investments. Which government ministries will spend the most in the new fiscal year? Well, the Ministry of Finance takes the lead with a budget estimate of $575 million. Most of that sum, $421 million, will be used for recurring expenses in areas like salaries and public debt service, while $153 million have been earmarked for capital investment, primarily going towards NHI expansion. With a $365 million budget, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, and Education takes the number 2 spot on the spending list. With such an extensive portfolio under one ministry, $314 million have been allocated for recurrent expenditure, primarily for wages, but also for grants and operational costs. The ministry's investment capital stands at $51 million. The Ministry of Health and Wellness ranks third in spending for the new fiscal year with a budget of $199 million, $101 million in recurrent expenditure, and an investment capital of $97 million, second only to the Ministry of Infrastructure and Housing's $99 million capital expenditure. These allocations emphasize the government's push to modernize Belize's physical and social infrastructure, tackle debt, improve education and health services for Belizeans. But the opposite end of the Briceño administration's proposed budgetary allocation paints a different picture. Where is the government spending the least? According to the draft estimates, the country's oversight and governance watchdogs are among that list. For the Auditor General's office, the government has allocated $3 million. The Integrity Commission is looking at a $325,000 budget. The Office of the Ombudsman will receive $461,000, while $404,000 have been allocated to the Office of the Contractor General. These offices, while essential for transparency and accountability, continue to receive comparatively low budget allocations. So the big question tonight is, where is the government getting the money to fund this massive budget? According to Prime Minister Briceño, most of it will come from tax revenue, an estimated $1.58 billion. Here's how that breaks down. Government expects to collect $843 million from taxes on goods and services. Another $466 million should come from income and business taxes. And just over $260 million is projected from international trade taxes. Altogether, it forms the backbone of the revenue plan for the new fiscal year. As the National Assembly debates the estimates, Belizeans will watch closely to see how the Briceño administration priorities translate into real improvements in services, opportunities, and economic stability in the year ahead. Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
Opposition leader Tracy Panton isn't buying the Briceño administration's budget pitch, saying the government's promise of prosperity for Belizeans doesn't line up with what families are actually feeling on the ground. Speaking today, Panton cast the budget as big on spending, but short on realism, especially with the country still buried under billions in public debt. She also took aim at the government's continued dependence on consumption taxes, arguing that those levies fall hardest on working-class Belizeans who are already stretching every dollar. Here's how she framed her concerns.
I thought what was presented yesterday is incredulous, particularly since the budget was themed prosperity for Belizeans. The first thing that jumped out at me certainly was the level of the national debt, $4.63 billion in public debt. And on the heels of that, the government is speaking about major infrastructure projects, including a $450 million investment in our port facilities. That is 50% of the national budget for the year. The government spoke about increases in revenue, with providing no basis or assumptions for those increases to be achieved, except what they have been doing, which is increasing consumption taxes, right? Taxes on fuel, high costs of food, the excise duties and import duty taxes that we see on basic goods and services that Belizeans need. And so that puts an undue pressure, if you will, on the working class. It continues to be that the working class continues to carry the greatest burden. There was no clear strategy on how we are going to address, for example, how the government intends to address the issue of unbearable cost of living for average Belizeans.
Prime Minister John Briceño says government is getting ready to deliver one of the biggest education boosts in Belize's history. The Education Upliftment Project, which began in 2022 with fewer than 1,000 students, has exploded in size and is now on track to cover 60% of all secondary students. And it's still growing. By the 2026 to 2027 fiscal year, the program is expected to reach more than 14,000 students, pushing Belize towards its long-term goal: free secondary education for every child in government high schools.
The Education Upliftment Program, or the EUP, Together We Rise, eliminates financial barriers for families across Belize. The targeted allocation for funds for secondary school students in all districts demonstrates this administration's strong commitment to expanding access to quality education. At its launch in 2022-2023 academic year, the program supported 947 students across 4 secondary high schools. And I think we started off in the south side of Belize City. In the 2026-2027 fiscal period, the Education Upliftment Project will expand to 27 secondary schools, reaching over 14,000 students. These numbers indicate an increase of more than 13,000 beneficiaries, representing growth of over 1,000% in less than 4 years. In 2026-2027, 100% of students enrolled in government secondary schools nationwide will attend school for free.
If the expansion continues as planned, what started as a small pilot could soon change how families access and afford secondary school nationwide. Prime Minister John Bersenio says Belize is about to make a major jump in public health care. In the 2026 to 2027 fiscal year, government will pump $57 million into expanding national health insurance and strengthening services nationwide. NHI will finally cover the entire Caye district, one of the country's fastest growing areas. That expansion will push NHI enrollment past 325,000 Belizeans, bringing the country closer to universal primary care. Government also plans to upgrade polyclinics and hire more medical staff so facilities can keep pace with rising demand. Bersenio says more doctors, more nurses, and better equipped clinics are essential to delivering the level of care Belizeans deserve.
For fiscal year 2026-2027 is for expansion and investment in NHI. We are moving from stabilization to strategic expansion. This budget allocates $57 million to deepen NHI's impact. Our focus will be twofold. First, we're expanding NHI coverage to include the entire Caye district, finally offering services. So coming Caye, even Caye West is going to get NHI. So we're finally offering services to 325,000 persons countrywide. Second, we are allocating significant resources to strengthen the supply side because a promise of care is empty without infrastructure to deliver it. We are partnering with the Ministry of Health and Wellness to upgrade polyclinics in key districts and crucially to address the human resource gap. Madam Speaker, I call on every Belizean to join us in advancing the next chapter of NHI, because building a healthier nation is a responsibility we share and a legacy we must create together.
In short, the upcoming fiscal year is shaping up to be a defining one for NHI, not just expanding who it reaches, but improving what it offers. From national health care coverage to a major infrastructure push, Prime Minister John Bersenio announced more than $80 million in upgrades to make roads safer and bridges stronger. The George Price Highway will get a $21 million overhaul, while the Philip Gosen Highway is set for $8 million in improvements. In Belize City, both the Swing Bridge and the Belmopan Bridge will be replaced, each costing just over $3 million. Government is also putting money into sports. An initial $1.6 million will go toward upgrading key facilities.
For infrastructure development, $21.9 million for the upgrading of the George Price Highway from Belize City to Belmopan. $8 million for the upgrading of the Philip Gosen Highway from Mile 8 to Mile 24. $4 million for specialized equipment. I hope Minister from Stan Creek West, you'll be able to get your grader, right? I hope that when they buy down the graders and so forth. $4.6 million for the Santa Familia Bridge. $3.8 million for the replacement of the Belize City Swing Bridge. Yeah, the club, you know, it goes into Albert too. 3.8 million for the replacement of the Belcan Bridge, and a combined total of some $46 million for the continued maintenance of roads, streets, and drains countrywide. For sporting facilities, 1.6 million for the maintenance of sports facilities, but it's more than that, right, Representative from Pickstock? So it's only that we mentioned right here.
All told, next year is shaping up to be busy for public works, with long-promised upgrades finally moving forward. Coming up, a new poll is shaking up the political landscape in Belmopan, revealing a power shift that's catching plenty of people off guard. We'll tell you who's rising, who's slipping, and what it could mean for the capital city's future.
NEBL heads into weekend number 4 on Friday night. The Belmopan Trojans try to bounce back into the winning column against the number 1 team in the league, the Orange Walk Running Rebels, 8 p.m. at the UB Gymnasium. Then on Saturday night, a big showdown of the ballers as the high-flying Caye Western Ballers is locked and ready to crush the powerful and tall Dangriga Dream Ballers, 8 p.m. at the Victor Galvez Stadium. And in Corozal, the Corozal Spartans look to turn their season around with their first win against the Biting Tiger Sharks from San Pedro in their home opener, 8 p.m. at the Andre Campus Civic Center. The NEBL Girls plus performance by Yastalia, giveaways at all games, and at halftime the big National Sports Council $5,000 shooting challenge. So make this weekend an NEBL weekend, sponsored by the Government of Belize.
Smart for everybody, smart leading everything, smart give you everything, smart offer everything, smart give you everything. North to the east and the south and the west, smart are the best, darling. Double up my data and give me all the text. In fact, give me a plan for my family. Unlimited calls, so me like it. And smart make everybody feel happy. Bringing people together, me want it now. Smart got love for everybody. Me want my smart plan, want it right now. Me want my smart plan, want it right now. More bundles, data plan. Me want my smartphone, internet in my hand. Cause me want my smart plan, want it right now.
Forward-thinking farmer ready to adopt climate-smart practices? The future of farming is resilient, sustainable, and profitable, and we're here to help you achieve just that. Whether cultivating half an acre or 200 acres, DFC offers affordable financing options and a matching grant up to $12,000 for Window 1 and up to $60,000 for Window 2 to help make your farm climate-smart, withstand unpredictable weather patterns, and adapt practices that enhance productivity and efficiency. This program is ideal for farmers and cooperatives. Women farmers are highly encouraged to take advantage. Join us in creating a resilient and sustainable agricultural future for Belize. Apply now and take the next step towards a stronger, greener tomorrow.
What happens when you step off the edge?
Too late to back out now. He said I'm ready. No, I'm not.
And land somewhere unexpected. Sometimes it breaks you open. Wild at root?
That is very bitter.
But sweet on the tongue. where history calls out and you answer with open arms. This isn't just a journey, it's across borders.
That was amazing!
Glenfield Dennison was caught trying to charge BTL for negotiations on behalf of former workers.
He insists he never charged the workers group a cent and claims the invoice was only a negotiating tactic.
If the invoice was just a negotiating tactic, why would Dennison ask BTL to pay the legal fees as part of settlement? And if BTL had agreed, who would have received payment? Dennison, of course, because he sent the invoice the day after the last negotiations to be considered with the 4.5% interest requested by BCWJ. What's worse, the cost of legal work submitted is grossly inflated. Those are senior counsel rates, and Dennison is not a senior counsel. As to the tax identification number on the invoice, no such TIN number is registered with GST, so we must also ask whether he is licensed with the FIU as required. There's also the question of whether as a Crown Counsel Dennison violated the public service rules which state a judicial and legal officer shall not engage in any private legal work or private business of a legal nature. It's time for him to stop the games and come clean.
Authorities are trying to piece together a troubling mystery at sea after rescuers found an elderly American man dead aboard a drifting catamaran more than 60 miles offshore. The vessel last seen leaving Livingston about a week ago first drew attention when the crew of the MSC Divina radioed in a distress call. A woman on board had been rescued and told them her husband suddenly went into cardiac arrest. But when Belize's rescue team reached the abandoned catamaran Wednesday morning, they discovered the man's body inside and signs of blood, raising new questions about what really happened during the couple's voyage. The Coast Guard towed the vessel to Caye Caulker, where police and scenes of crime officers have now launched a full investigation. CEO of the Ministry of National Defense and Border Security, Francis Usher, breaks down what authorities know so far and what they're still trying to determine.
We received a distress call from the MSC Divina on Monday, indicating that there was a woman in distress aboard a vessel east of Belize City and that there was a body on board. We understand now that the cruise ship took the woman on board and then left the body on the vessel. The body and the vessel were towed into Caye Caulker this morning, and police took over from there. I don't want to speak on behalf of the police department, but they proceeded to do their initial investigations, and I understand that due to some apparent wounds on the scene on the body and due to the state of decomposition, the body was then transported to Belize City for further examination. And the Coast Guard towed the vessel to the Coast Guard base where it will be secured for police to conduct further investigation into that vessel.
Is there any foul play suspected at this point in time?
So you would have to check with the lead investigators from the police department about that.
In terms of the vessel's origin, what do we know about that?
So the Coast Guard and the police department are in active communication with the son of the deceased, who is in country and is making the necessary arrangements to transport the body back home. What we understand from the Sun is that they departed Livingston about a week ago.
Why wasn't there a response immediately following the distress call?
So there was a response due to the location of the vessel at the time that the distress call was made, or that the distress call came in from the cruise ship. It was too far out or too far east for the Coast Guard to go out and get it. So we started to alert our regional partners who were willing to go. But when we explained the situation and they did their analysis, we awaited we allowed the currents and so to come, and the Coast Guard went out to get it and towed it back in. They took it to Caye Caulker, which was the nearest point for them to do their initial analysis. And at that point, the police made the determination that we should take it to Belize City.
The long-running tensions over the Sapodilla Keys are now heading into a decisive moment. On March 19th, 2026, the ICJ is expected to decide whether Guatemala can formally intervene in Belize's case against Honduras, a dispute Belize brought to the court in 2022 after negotiations with Honduras broke down over its constitutional claim to the Keys. Guatemala stepped in late last year, arguing that whatever the court rules could directly affect its own ongoing territorial and maritime case against Belize. With the clock ticking down, the stakes are rising. The court's decision on Guatemala's involvement could influence not just the pace of the proceedings, but also the regional dynamics surrounding the contested waters. As anticipation builds, News 5's Brittany Gordon digs deeper into the arguments presented and what this moment could mean for the wider dispute. Here's her report.
It's been almost 4 years since Belize submitted its claim to the Sapodilla Keys against Honduras at the International Court of Justice, ICJ, and the decades-long dispute is yet to reach its final resolution. Another twist is coming as the ICJ gets ready to rule on Guatemala's request to intervene. Guatemala says the case touches on its claim to Belize's territory. Belize didn't oppose the move, but Honduras fired back, accusing Guatemala of abusing the system and urging the court to throw out their request.
The court was instead told this morning, as it was on Monday, that it is just obvious that Guatemala should be permitted to intervene because the three states claim the same territory. Guatemala told you that this was a textbook example of a case for which Article 62 of the statute was designed. That might be so if the Guatemala-Belize case did not exist. But in light of the unique features we identified, it is not enough to meet Guatemala's burden in the very particular circumstances of this case.
The Sapodilla Keys, 14 tiny sand and mangrove islands, covering more than 38,000 acres at the southern tip of Belize's Barrier Reef, have long been a point of tension. Honduras wrote a claim to the Keys into its constitution in 1982, a claim Belize dismisses outright. Worried that Honduras might jump into the Belize-Guatemala case at the ICJ, Belize moved to put the issue before the court on its own. Then Foreign Minister Eamon Courtenay explained the move.
Because both Belize and Guatemala claim the Sapodillas in the ICJ case, which said Keys are claimed by Honduras in its constitution, it is our understanding that Honduras will feel obliged to intervene in the Belize-Guatemala case now before the ICJ to assert its claim to the Sapodillas. Madam President, Belize and Honduras have excellent relations. After taking legal advice, we have engaged the Honduran government with a view to negotiating a resolution of their claim to the Sapodillas on the basis of Honduras acknowledging Belize's exclusive sovereignty over the Sapodillas. Regrettably, this has not been successful. If, as we believe is likely, Honduras applies to intervene in the case now before the court, it is likely to affect the Belize-Guatemala case.
The Briceña administration argued that once the ICJ became aware of a claim by Honduras to the Sapodillas, the court may potentially not define the boundaries of the Keys in the dispute with Guatemala, leaving a large part of Belize's maritime entitlement unresolved.
Indeed, the ICJ may decide not to pronounce on sovereignty over the Sapodillas as well, even as between Belize and Guatemala. This would mean that sovereignty over a very important part of our sovereign domain, the Sapodillas and the maritime areas pertaining to it, will remain unresolved.
These waters are teeming with marine life. Manatees, turtles, fish, and coral gardens make the area a crucial biodiversity hub. Resolving the issue allows for strengthening protection of the environment and Belize's borders. Ambassador Assad Shoman, Special Envoy for the Prime Minister of Belize, called for an efficient and timely resolution to these conflicts at The Hague last year.
For Belize, the pressing issue remains the need for an efficient and complete resolution of all claims against Belize's territory by both Guatemala and Honduras. Belize considers that this objective will be best served by coordination of the two cases. How to achieve such coordination is, of course, a matter for the court. It would be logical for the court to hear Guatemala-Belize first, and then immediately or very shortly thereafter to hear the more confined case of Belize-Honduras. That would facilitate efficient use of the court's resources. Participants in the second case could refer to matters already covered in the first, and so minimize repetition.
These two cases may potentially reshape Belize's map as we know it, and as the court weighs Guatemala's request to intervene, the decision may set a precedent for how the ICJ manages overlapping disputes across the globe. Brittany Gordon for News 5.
The Public Utilities Commission has issued its final determination on market dominance in Belize's telecommunications sector, concluding that Belize Telemedia Limited holds dominance across nearly all major retail and wholesale markets, from mobile and broadband services to international connectivity. The decision follows a month-long public consultation in which stakeholders largely agreed with the Commission's preliminary findings, reinforcing concerns over concentrated market power and the need for stronger oversight. With the determination now finalized, the PUC says it will move forward with regulatory measures aimed at improving transparency and ensuring non-discriminatory access to essential services. The PUC says this will lead to strengthening consumer protection while promoting fair competition and the continued development of the national telecommunications infrastructure. The Belize Cable Television Operators Association submitted close to 30 pages during the consultation process, highlighting its position, concerns, and recommendations. Today we spoke with the chairman of the association, Evan Tench.
The association had some concerns for many years because, of course, many of the members, I would say most of them, are providing internet service to subscribers. So they're all internet service providers and they compete directly with BTL. Primarily for the association, and you might know that BTL has the sole access to the landing site from the Arcos submarine cable that comes to Belize. I think it's on BTL's compound. So all our operators have to buy bandwidth from BTL. BTL then becomes the wholesaler to us, but they're also the retailer competing against every single cable operator in the country. Our submission to the PUC was to support their findings that BTL has market dominance in that specific area of their control over the bandwidth coming to Belize. While the operators have joined along with BTL to purchase bulk bandwidth, which the more you purchase, the cheaper the price. So if we're buying along with BTL, then all of us get a better rate. But then BTL controls the landing site. So they put a markup on the bulk bandwidth coming in to the operators, and this creates an unlevel playing field when we go to retail, because we're already paying more wholesale than they are, and they're competing in the same retail market.
Cable providers are requesting direct access to that infrastructure at cost or just above cost, free of BTL's involvement. Cable operators say the fight isn't just about broadband. They argue BTL's real edge comes from bundled services, mobile, broadband, and fixed lines wrapped into deals smaller providers can't match. They call those bundles unfair and anti-competitive, claiming they threaten the survival of independent operators. Now, the association wants lawmakers to step in and give cable companies access to the fixed line market so they can offer their own bundles and level the playing field.
People get their services, although it's over a cable, now it's fiber. So for both the cable operators and for Digi, we're delivering content. Now it's delivered in IP content, which Digi is doing as well with Digi TV. And because Digi can then bundle 4 services, the quad play, which is the fixed home services, fixed home internet services or business, they have the mobile internet service and mobile phone and content. It's a disadvantage to the cable operators that presently can only do content and fixed home internet. So what we are looking at or asking for the PUC is to allow an operator to take compete in all those fields, which would mean there are different options where we could buy bulk minutes, like MVNO from BTL, bulk minutes, and then we retail along with bandwidth and content to our subscribers. We can also do fixed home service. Since we have a connection, a line into everyone's home, we can offer them a home telephone internet service, but this would mean that we would have to get numbering from the PUC, and then we would need interconnection, of course, so that they can connect to BTL's phone numbers network. So we're hoping that the new legislation would look at all that to allow, a level playing field with competition, because there is some cross subsidizing. Maybe they would offer home internet, cellular internet, and they just throw in content, while the operators have to buy a lot of this content and then they have to retail it along with maybe internet. So they only can bundle internet and content at this time.
Cable providers say real competition can only happen if the law gives them fair access to the same services and infrastructure that keep BTL firmly in the driver's seat. And as the Public Utilities Commission gathered feedback on its market dominance assessment, SpeedNet submitted one of the most detailed and experience-based responses in the consultation. Drawing on its 2 decades operating alongside a historically dominant BTL, the company outlines how structural advantages rooted in monopoly-era infrastructure and long-standing state ownership continue to shape competition across mobile, broadband, wholesale access, and interconnection markets. SpeedNet's filing focuses less on rhetoric and more on practical remedies, advocating for regulated access to passive infrastructure, cost-oriented interconnection rates, and equal treatment at critical facilities such as the Arcos cable landing. But is the conversation surrounding BTL's market dominance now fueling questions about the potential benefits for Belize that could have been derived if the BTL SpeedNet acquisition was completed? As you heard, the Belize Cable Television Operators Association are now calling for direct access to bandwidth infrastructure and increased competition in bundling services. This will, in effect, enable BTL's competitors to increase their market share. So what does that mean for value of GOB and Social Security Board's investment over time? Will it increase future risks as BTL's market share decreases? We will continue to follow. Belmopan's political landscape is shifting, and a new approval rating poll is putting those changes into sharp focus. Pollster Dr. Philip Castillo says Mayor Pablo Kowich is losing ground in the capital, with his support sliding from 56% on election night to just 42% in the latest survey. Meanwhile, Area Representative Oscar Mira is moving in the opposite direction, tightening his grip as what Castillo calls the undisputed power broker in Belmopan, inching up from 65 to 67% approval. Prime Minister John Briceño isn't breaking past 40% here either, but he's still doing better in Belmopan than in several other municipalities, including Dangriga. Castillo walked us through what may be fueling the shifts and what they could mean for the political mood in the capital.
I think my poll found that Mr. Kowich has, I think it's around 42% support. In a sense, that's a drop off because he won the elections 2 years ago with, I think, 56% support. So his support has dropped off, but he's still what we call above water because those who approve of him is the amount, the percentage that approves of him is more than the percentage that disapproves. Now there's a substantial percentage that is undecided, and he has yet to convince those, but those are persons who are undecided who can be convinced either way. It is a fact that Mr. Mira won in 2020 with 60% of the votes. It's also a fact that Mr. Mira won in 2025 with 65% of the votes. This poll was taken, this month, 2026, and notice his support has increased from 65 to 67%. So pollsters like when their figures, when there's a benchmark to work on, and their figures are around that benchmark. But the reasons I would think that underlie the Prime Minister's higher approval ratings in Belmopan, or the generally higher approval ratings in Belmopan, is that the average person in Belmopan, focusing on economics, focusing on the socio-economic indicators by which our statistical agency measures our well-being. In all those indicators, Belmopan and the Caye district is substantially ahead.
Belmopan Mayor Pablo Kowich says he was unaware of the recent approval rating poll, but maintains that his administration is focused on delivering results rather than courting popularity. Speaking on Open Your Eyes, Kowich highlighted several initiatives aimed at improving how residents engage with City Hall, from a developing GIS-based task management system to a new 675-TEL WhatsApp hotline, emphasizing that each effort is designed to strengthen accountability and streamline how issues in the capital city are addressed.
I wasn't aware that a poll was conducted. I haven't seen the results as yet.
Just came out over the weekend, actually.
Okay. Well, one of the things with this team is that we don't do things for popularity. We do things to ensure that we are bringing the benefits that the community elected us to do. So we were serious, or we are serious about work, and we continue to be very serious about the progress of Belmopan. Some of the initiatives that we are embarking on will allow residents to better engage with the City Council. For example, we have a GIS task management system which we are presently working on developing. This will allow the citizens of Belmopan, or the residents of Belmopan, to utilize citizen science to submit issues in the city that would be verified by a City Council official, and once it's verified, it's entered into the task management system. This would allow tracking of that issue until it's rectified or depending on the type of issue, it might just be informational to relay for a future solution. Apart from that, we also have a new mechanism where we are utilizing a 675 TEL hotline. This presently allows any resident to submit issues or concerns on via WhatsApp.
Belmopan Mayor Pablo Coich says he isn't bothered by polls, stressing that his team is zeroed in on delivering results through new accountability tools and a WhatsApp hotline. After the break, fireworks in the House. Minister Chang and the Prime Minister go head-to-head over explosive allegations of customs kickbacks. What sparked the clash and what each side is now claiming. But first, here's tonight's weather forecast.
We have exciting news for you. RFNG Life Insurance is now officially in your town. Now, you can visit our office to pay your life insurance premiums or speak to our dedicated agent, Mayeli, about securing your future with the right coverage.
Hi, my name is Mayeli Hoy, your designated agent here at RFNG Life in the Caye District. I'm here to help you explore your options, answer your questions, and find the perfect policy for you and your loved ones.
Whether you're looking for life insurance, critical illness coverage, or future saving plans, we've got you covered. Take the first step towards securing a stable and prosperous financial future for you and your family. RFNG Life Insurance, now in Cayo. Visit us today or call to schedule an appointment. Your future starts here.
The Belize Tax Service has been serving the country well since its inception. But like many tax administration systems worldwide, it faces new challenges that require modern solutions. The Semi-Autonomous Revenue Authority, SARA, will be established by legislation that will modernize how Belize administers taxes. Countries across our region, Jamaica, Barbados, and Guyana, have undertaken similar efforts at modernization, and we're using their experiences, successes, and challenges to design a SARA specific to our tax landscape. SARA will operate under the Ministry of Finance with an advisory board comprised of experts in finance, tax, law, and public administration who will provide sound guidance while maintaining the required oversight of public funds. SARA will provide the framework for modernizing tax administration, improving the way we serve taxpayers, and supporting Belize's development. A semi-autonomous revenue authority, SARA, will create opportunities for improving human resource management, accelerating digital transformation that reduces turnaround time and paperwork, and providing more responsive customer service while maintaining strict accountability standards. SARA, a progressive tax administration for a modern Belize.
Need a fresh new kitchen, flip that switch ignition. G appliances shine. Every knob, every line, all align and turn the shower on. Feel gold, cooler in the chrome. So bold from the tiles to the tiny screws. We've got the wow you'll choose. All in one place, Design Depot. Everything you need for the life you want. Let's go. From the floor to the paint to the patio glow. Build it up, light it up. Watch your dream home grow. All in one place. All in one place. All in one place. All in one place. All in one place.
Design Depot. All in one place.
Electricity is essential for everyday life, but behind every outlet, a lot is happening to bring you safe, reliable, and sustainable energy. Let's start at the beginning. Independent power producers across Belize generate electricity using a mix of renewable and non-renewable resources. Electricity travels across a network of high-voltage transmission lines capable of transmitting electricity across long distances. Electricity then reaches your nearest substation, where it is adjusted to a lower voltage, making it safe to travel on the distribution lines you see in your community. From there, electricity makes its final journey from the distribution lines to your home, providing you with safe and reliable power when you need it. Belize Electricity Limited. We continue to serve you.
Easy. Accessible. Safe. Yours. Digi Wallet. Easy, accessible, safe, yours.
Belizeans didn't just watch a race this weekend. They felt it. La Ruta Maya once again proved that sports aren't only about who crosses the finish line first, but about the rush, the pride, and the shared heartbeat of a country cheering from riverbanks and bridges. The paddlers delivered moments that gave Belizeans real chills, the kind you can't measure on a scoreboard. From inspiring young athletes to boosting local businesses along the river, the race showed how sports can lift communities and move an entire nation. And tonight, Shane Williams breaks down how events like these do far more than crown champions. They connect us, motivate us, and remind us what we can achieve together.
Global icon Nelson Mandela once said, "Sports has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a unique way." In this edition of 5 Point Breakdown, we will explore the transformative power of sports on the individual, the community, and the world through the experiences of those who have seen it firsthand. Young athletes quickly learn that success requires commitment, teamwork, and perseverance. Minister of State Devin Daly says the lessons he learned on the basketball court, discipline, teamwork, and hustle, are the same ones driving him at the country's highest decision-making table.
I wouldn't be the politician, I wouldn't be the man, I wouldn't be the father, I wouldn't be the son, I wouldn't be the family relative that I am today without sports. It has taught me ways how to resolve conflict positively, deal and manage with stress, network and show camaraderie. And of course, it has given me the platform and the opportunity to get a free education abroad and, come back and positively impact my country.
Like Devin Daly, across Belize, talented athletes have used sports as a pathway to scholarships and international exposure. Kay Angelit was one of those paddlers who made their way to Belcan Bridge on Monday.
They've provided me with a scholarship for being able to do something I love, so that's a huge opportunity, and I make sure I grab the opportunity with both hands. I am on internship right now, so I just would like to say thanks to my lecturer, Mr. Innocent, and all my supervisors that have granted me the time to train while on my internship, because it's very difficult juggling training, school, and everything together. But I'm really grateful for an opportunity like this to represent the National University of Belize.
Few things bring people together like a team representing their community. The Crawl Road, Rivera Street and Caesar Ridge area is considered one of the most dangerous parts of Belize City. However, Leeton St. Clair and members of those communities have seen how sports influence peace and positivity among the at-risk youths.
One of the insight that I saw happen to us at City Boys during the COVID era, that's 2020 when COVID came around, because of that and no contact sports and couldn't be out, that halt us and that stopped the program from functioning. And when that stopped the program from functioning, in that era, if we check the news stats, the killing went up. Some of the youths backslide, some of the youths fell short, they didn't have anything to do, and negative influences around the community just crept in. Fast forward to 2022, Port Loyola came into existence under the leadership of Mr. Alexander Wood, and again we brought some football success to the community, a bright light in the community in the Port Loyola area. The program does help a lot. It brings some sense of positivity. When you hear the Port Loyola area, when you hear the South Side area, you tend to hear mostly negative things, and they do have positive, successful stories alongside the Tutby Football Club. So Port Loyola and Tutby Football Club are really doing something positive on the south side of Belize City.
Major events create opportunities not just for athletes, but for entrepreneurs and small businesses. John Marsden is an accomplished events promoter and co-owner of the Defenders basketball team. He has seen how sports can become an engine for community-based economic activity.
You have many small businesses who benefit from them. To mention some, we have the barbers, hair techs, nail techs, clothes, taxis, food vendors. Many small businesses benefit, right? I mean, the spilloffs from it just have a very big impact on the community. I mean, nightclubs get more packed, taxis get more jobs because then you have to drop the people to and from the venue. After the club done, you're hungry, you go buy food. Even the pop-up shops there, the mama pop shops there. You want to eat chewing gum, you want to stop in and chewing gum, you need gas, you have to go to the gas stations to get your gas, get to the water, your chewing gum before you go to the game. So you have one really numerous amount of small businesses will benefit from sporting events and events happening around the city, you know.
Sporting events have also had global impacts and are cemented in history, like when Jesse Owens defied Hitler's Nazi propaganda by dominating the Berlin Olympics in 1936. President of the Belize Olympic Committee, Alan Sharp, says the world needs sports now more than ever.
I think there's nothing like sport to be used for unity. There's nothing like sport that brings people who are different to be united, whether it be countries on the political side, genders, races, religion. The Iranians, when they play sport, they right now just recently played against the USA in various sports, yet politically problems. Obviously there's always going to be controversies, but the one thing when it comes to playing sport is that everybody's on the playing field, enjoying the sport, enjoying participating, enjoying the friendship with your opponent. At war, you're trying to take out the opponent, but in sport, whilst you're trying to win, there's respect.
From building discipline to creating economic opportunities, sports have a ripple effect that reaches far beyond the playing field. And in Belize, that impact continues to grow with every race, every match, and tournament. Shane Williams reporting for News 5.
A new flashpoint erupted in the House on Tuesday as the debate shifted from numbers to integrity. Mesopotamia Area Rep Lee Mark Chang raised alarms about what he says is an open secret at the border. Importers slipping cash to customs officers in exchange for discounted vehicle duties. He argued that sky-high import costs are driving people toward the shadows, and that lowering duties on older vehicles could help shut the door on corruption. But Prime Minister John Bersenio pushed back, insisting the issue didn't start with his administration. and that government is already tightening up assessments while looking at possible changes to vehicle taxes. Here's how that exchange played out inside the House.
Leadership means taking responsibility. Leadership means confronting corruption. Leadership means implementing policies that ease the burden on the ordinary citizens. If we truly want to stop corruption at the border, then remove the incentives that create corruption. Reduce the duties on imported vehicles, and especially for vehicles older than 5 years, there should be a deeper reduction. Because, Madam Speaker, these are the vehicles the working class and middle class can actually afford.
Now that we have made the adjustments and we're removing all of the what they call residual value and giving the customs officers the ability to be able to give these steep discounts, to be able to save money. But now what is happening? Now that they have to apply the full amount of the duties that you have been reading, in which many instances you are right, the cost of a vehicle has gone up tremendously because now they have to pay what is in the book.
Government moved to tighten the country's traffic laws on Tuesday, introducing stiffer penalties and expanded enforcement powers as part of a push to modernize Belize's road safety framework. During the House sitting, Transport Minister Dr. Louis Abene tabled amendments that would significantly increase fines and jail time for motorists driving without insurance. Measures, he says, are designed to strengthen compliance and give officers the authority they need to keep the roads safer.
The bill seeks to amend Section 3 of the Motor Vehicles and Road Traffic Act to broaden the authority of traffic wardens, both from the Department of Transport and municipal authorities, to include the enforcement of and the carrying out of duties under the Motor Vehicle Insurance Third-Party Risk Act. With respect to the latter, the penalty for insurance-related offenses has remained unchanged since 1999 and no longer provides an adequate deterrent to violations under the Motor Vehicle Insurance Act. For instance, the most common offense, using a motor vehicle without insurance, currently carries a penalty of a fine not exceeding $400 and an imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months or both. Accordingly, this bill seeks to amend the Motor Vehicle Insurance Act to increase the penalty for the offense of using a motor vehicle not covered by third-party insurance from a fine not exceeding the $400 and the 6 months to a fine not exceeding $1,000 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 8 months.
During Tuesday's House meeting, government also tabled a $25 million loan motion to build Caye Caulker's long-awaited wastewater system. Both sides backed the project, but the debate zeroed in on the sovereign guarantee and whether BWSL's added debt will drive up water rates. The IDB is financing the effort with a $10 million loan and a $2.25 million GEF grant to build a sewage network and treatment plant. Opposition leader Tracy Panton questioned whether BWSL can shoulder the loan without passing costs to consumers, while Belize Rural South area rep argued the growing island urgently needs the system.
The concern I have, Madam Speaker, is the sovereign guarantee being proposed by this motion. Because with this guarantee comes a contingent liability on the public purse. What is the current financial position of BWSL? 1. 2, Madam Speaker, what's the existing debt obligations of BWSL, Madam Speaker? and how this new loan facility will affect the long-term financial sustainability and the rates that are passed on to the consuming public.
While you may say about the amount of figure that is very high, you might justify and saying, well, it's a small community of maybe about 5,000 residents. Please, hello, I want you all and everybody to understand, Madam Speaker, the importance of this project of such magnitude. It's not only for our people in Caye Caulker, but as far as the tourism industry is concerned, environmentally, it is very, very, very important. Long overdue. So, Madam Speaker, the contribution of this small community, let's not forget that the contribution that this small community contributes to this country is far more justified.
And with questions still swirling about who ultimately pays for the project, the debate over Caye Caulker's wastewater upgrade is far from settled. Up next, Belizeans urged to stay alert as officials warn of a new wave of virtual kidnapping scams targeting families. What to watch for and how to protect yourself.
Every connection we make is more than just a signal. It's a student unlocking a future through digital education. A young mind daring to dream bigger. Our culture shared with the world in real time. And everyday heroes answering the call of civic duty. When we connect with Digi, we empower Belize.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include Cath Lab, Adult Intensive Care Unit, Neonatal Intensive Care Unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI, Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
Introducing BB Insurance, built for Belize. Your security, our priority.
Glenfield Dennison was caught trying to charge BTL for negotiations on behalf of former workers.
He insists he never charged the workers group a cent and claims the invoice was only a negotiating tactic.
If the invoice was just a negotiating tactic, why would Dennison ask BTL to pay the legal fees as part of settlement? And if BTL had agreed, who would have received payment? Dennison, of course, because he sent the invoice the day after the last negotiations to be considered with the 4.5% interest requested by BCWJ. What's worse, the cost of legal work submitted is grossly inflated. Those are senior counsel rates, and Dennison is not a senior counsel. As to the tax identification number on the invoice, no such TIN number is registered with GST. So, we must also ask whether he is licensed with the FIU as required. There's also the question of whether as a Crown Counsel Dennison violated the public service rules which state a judicial and legal officer shall not engage in any private legal work or private business of a legal nature. It's time for him to stop the games and come clean.
Join us tomorrow on Open Your Eyes for another exciting and informative show. We'll be taking a closer look at how the Belize Fund is working to preserve and protect Belize's beautiful barrier reef, one of our country's greatest natural treasures. We'll also be featuring Matty Rotter, who is making a powerful impact by strengthening communities through sisterhood and empowerment. Plus, if you love good music and uplifting vibes, we'll tell you all about an upcoming Belize gospel concert that's set to take the stage and bring people together in praise and celebration. And for our business community, we'll highlight the Spanish Lookout Expo, where entrepreneurs and innovators will be showcasing business excellence and the latest in products and services. It's all happening tomorrow morning, so be sure to tune in to Open Your Eyes for great conversations, inspiring stories, and everything you need to start your day the Belizean way.
Finally, a postpaid plan for 3 people. Introducing Smart Trio. Why pay for mobile service alone when you can share and save? Get unlimited national calls, text, plus 100 gigabytes of shared data. And the best part? It's only $135. That's right, as low as $45 per person. Perfect for small families, couples, or close friends. Smart Trio. 3 lines, 1 smart choice. Sign up now and you could win a Trio getaway to San Pedro for 3. Visit us at www.smart-bz.com for more information or sign up at any showroom today. Smart, bringing people together.
What started as a terrifying ransom call quickly unraveled into a digital trap that preyed on panic. On Monday, 2 Belizean families were thrown into chaos after being told their loved ones had been kidnapped by a cartel in Chetumal. In reality, no gunmen, no abduction, just a sophisticated virtual kidnapping scam engineered to feel real. Hackers cloned phones, watched messages in real time, and manipulated the victims into sending staged photos and videos that looked like proof of life. Convinced their relatives were in danger, the families scrambled to raise thousands of dollars, money that ultimately landed in accounts controlled by the scammers. Authorities in Quintana Roo later tracked down the victims unharmed and helped bring them home. Belize's ambassador to Mexico, Oscar Arnold, explains how the criminals use psychology and tech savvy to turn fare into profit.
What the individuals did that made the phone call, they also did a video chat with them. They forced them, or the requirement of them was to take certain pictures so that they would send to their family members as well, to fool the family members into thinking that it was a real kidnapping. From the State Attorney General's office in Quintana Roo, it is ascertained that this call came from a detention facility in the state of Tamaulipas, where this whole elaborate scheme was concocted. And what they've done, because we've had reports of this in the past, where phone numbers become compromised. I myself have received these phone calls here in Mexico, but I really haven't paid them any mind. But what they do, they would call and they would say, we are watching you. We have people in the area who are watching you, and for your safety, or to guarantee your safety, you need to pay this amount of money by either depositing it into an account or making a transfer, an electronic transfer. And so in this instance, the family was being contacted by these individuals, and they thought that their three family members were being held or were being kidnapped, while the kidnappers would also be speaking to the three individuals, telling them that their life was at risk, that people were watching them, that they would have individuals harm them if their family members did not pay the ransom. Initially, they were told to go to the Mall of the Americas there in Chetumal, and that they would contact them again, which is an initial tactic to see if you're listening or if you're complying with their demands. At that point, when the three individuals did that, the kidnappers or the alleged kidnappers knew that these individuals were in fear of their life and that they would comply. The second request was made that they go to a hotel and go to a room and be locked up in the room. And that is when the other half of the scheme started, where they would then make demands on the family.
Ambassador Oscar Arnold explains that these instances are not uncommon, sharing another alarming case that previously unfolded. This case involved an elderly Belizean woman in Chetumal who was targeted while visiting Mexico for a dental appointment. He shared some advice on how Belizeans can avoid falling prey to these schemes.
They went over there for a dentist appointment, and somehow the number became compromised, and it fell into the hands of the wrong individual, and they were making the call and making these threats over the phone. And I can, putting myself in their situation, I can understand why people would be scared, and their first intention would be to try to pay to get out of any situation. However, local police here in Mexico City, as well as in Chetumal, they are aware of these cases, and the first thing they ask is that you contact them. We did report to the activities. That individual, an elderly Belizean woman, only went to the dentist appointment where she had to fill out her information. And so when we made the report to the police after the incident, they were looking into that matter. Here, for example, in Mexico City, if you go onto websites, if you do internet purchases, if you fill out other forms and so on, then your number can become compromised. I do believe that it's a ploy that the criminals do use. I wouldn't put it past anyone that they have some level of elaborate network where they can access information, because the main thing here is they try to instill fear in you. They try to instill a situation where you believe that your life is at risk and that you will pay. And hence why we saw a low amount for the ransom demand, because they want to make it an amount that makes it viable for them, but also is not too exorbitant that families can't pay. One of the suggestions, one of the recommendations would be that when you don't recognize a number, when you're traveling like that, you don't answer it, whether it's on WhatsApp or whether it's a direct call to your local number.
As Ambassador Arnold reminds Belizeans, staying alert to suspicious calls and protecting your personal information is the best way to avoid becoming the next target. Still in Mexico, a family getaway to Chetumal took a frightening turn over the weekend when plainclothes men surrounded a Belizean woman's car, claimed to be police, and questioned if the vehicle was really hers. Shaken but unharmed, she later learned from Belize's ambassador to Mexico that irregularities in the car's VIN number had triggered an investigation by Mexico's vehicle theft unit, an abrupt reminder of how fast a simple cross-border trip can turn tense.
We also got another complaint this weekend concerning a vehicle where another female, along with her daughters, felt that they were targeted in Chetumal, in Quintana Roo, while they were at Chedwari. They came out and they saw, I believe it was 3 or 4 individuals that had surrounded their vehicles. The individuals identified themselves as police or as some level of police authority there, but they were in plain clothes. they provided IDs, but the individual, and correctly so in her mind, said that, well, anyone can make an ID, and I don't know if you're the police. But what they were saying was that there was an issue with the vehicle, and they were basically saying that this individual was not the owner of the vehicle, although it was licensed and insured in Belize. And so they requested that she accompany them to the Fiscalia. By this time, she had already contacted the honorary consul in Chetumal, who she knew, and he promptly was on the scene when I was made aware of the situation, and I placed a call. He was already there, and he was accompanying them to the Fiscalia, where they were going to run other checks on the vehicle. What transpired and what he reported back, what the honorary consul in Chetumal reported back to me, was that there was an anomaly. There was something different about the VIN number, that there were either different VIN numbers or that the VIN numbers was adjusted. And so that prompted the vehicle theft unit on that side of the border to do an investigation. We really don't know if it was a GPS signal that was sent out or whatever the case may have been. But they did continue their investigation, and the young lady was allowed to come back home with the vehicle, because they found that while the VIN number was altered, there was no case file as to theft or anything like that on the Mexican side of the border, and so they allowed her to leave.
Arnold said the encounter wasn't an extortion attempt, but he warned that Belizeans have run into similar trouble before when unknowingly buying vehicles with tampered histories, only to face problems at the border. The casting call for the stage production Grace and Glory is officially open. After the break, we'll tell you who they are looking for and how you can land a spot on the cast.
In the heart of the Caye district, Calico Jacks is proving that sustainability and success can go hand in hand.
When Calico Jacks wanted to move to solar energy, the biggest difficulty for us was the finance. Belize Bank believed in our vision, and we are very happy and grateful that they gave us this opportunity for the financing.
Through the Credit Risk Abatement Facility, a partnership between Belize Bank and the Telecom Development Fund, small and medium businesses can access financing for renewable and energy-efficient solutions with reduced collateral requirements.
Here at SCSB, we're grateful for Belize Bank to make it easier for our clients to go green.
We're proud to work with businesses like Calico Jacks to help them lower their costs and their carbon footprint.
At Belize Bank, we are powering Belize's transition to renewable energy, one business at a time. Together with our partners, we're making sustainable financing accessible for all.
Belize Bank, financing a greener, stronger Belize.
Me, my data done, and I really need to get my ad out today.
Really? Well, you can join our smart group plan.
Really? How that works?
Easy, let me tell you.
Whether it's family, friends, or your small business, we've got the perfect plan for every group. More members equals more savings, more connections. Smart group plans bring the connectivity you love to you and your circle. No one gets left behind. Explore Share One package option and add on unlimited data, calls, and SMS for the entire group for less than $50 per member. Visit any smart showroom countrywide or email sales@speednet-wireless.com to sign up today. Smart, bringing people together.
Organizers have opened a casting call for Grace and Glory, a moving two-woman play set to premiere in Belize this October for Cancer Awareness Month. Tom Ziegler's drama follows Grace, an elderly woman dying of cancer, and Glory, a young hospice volunteer, as they clash over life and death before eventually finding friendship and understanding. Auditions will take place virtually on March 17th, and organizers are seeking two female actors, one aged 35 to 45 to play Glory, and one over 70 to portray Grace. Executive producer Curtis Gillett shares more about the upcoming production.
It is a beautiful play, and everyone can relate to it one way or another. The casting call is I'm looking for two females. Someone between the age range of 35 to 45 and someone older than 70 to play the role of Grace. The auditions will be March 17. We will be doing it by Zoom or Google Classroom. And that's because the director of the play, Fanny Green, she is a professor at a U.S. university. So she can't be here in person to conduct the auditions, and that's why we're doing it using the platform of Zoom or Google. For those who are interested in auditioning, please be prepared to give us 1 hour of your time. 1 hour of your time. Reach me at 637-6872. And what I will do is to provide you with the lines we want you to familiarize yourselves with, as well as the lines we want you to learn for the audition. So in addition to those, we want you to come prepared to also sing the chorus of a song. Don't worry if you're not a singer, that's quite fine. And come prepared to tell us in about a minute and a half, a little about yourself. And wear clothing that you can do some exercising, because even though we're going to be on a media platform, we will be doing some warm-up body and voice exercises before we go into the actual audition process.
Before we leave you, here's tonight's viewer's voice. On our first story, opposition leader, budget speech doesn't match Belizean reality. Manuel Ical commented, "Exactly, very true. Poor Belizeans continue to struggle on a daily basis." On the topic, Chang and PM spar over alleged customs kickbacks, Euphemia Castillo shared, "Makes a whole lot of sense. This needed to have been implemented from way back." And finally, Cayo District next in line as NHI goes national. Jose Meggs shared, "Please ensure the clinics under NHI are equipped with doctors, pediatricians, nurses, and medicines every day, not just on certain days." Thank you for engaging with us online. Your voices shape the national conversation. Keep those comments coming, and we'll continue to feature them right here. And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at greaterbelize.com, on our Facebook, and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.